All right, so today we're diving deep into Ramadan, but we're going to go way beyond, like, the basic stuff. We've
Yeah.
got this awesome speech, right? It's like packed with insights about what Ramadan really means, like deep down.
Yeah, for sure.
So are you ready to like uncover some hidden gems in this thing?
Oh, absolutely. I'm so excited.
Okay, so like right off the bat, the speaker goes straight for those misconceptions everyone has about Ramadan.
Yeah, totally. Like right from the start.
Like, that it's all about starving yourself for like an entire month.
Oh, yeah. I remember thinking that too when I was younger.
Totally, but the speech makes it super clear, right? It's like fasting is actually from dawn to dusk.
Right, exactly.
They even compared it to intermittent fasting.
It's so trendy right now.
It's all the rage, and it's like, wait, Muslims have been doing this for centuries.
I know, right? Way before it was like a health fad or whatever.
Totally, but the thing is, the speaker makes it super clear. The main goal, the real heart of it, is the spiritual side.
It's about cultivating that taqwa.
Yeah, you actually like underline that part in the speech. So what really stuck out to you about Taqwa?
Well, I mean, it's often translated as God consciousness.
Right.
But it's so much deeper than just like knowing God's there,
Right.
It's like having that awareness like soak into everything you do, every single action, every word you speak, even every thought.
Wow.
It's all done with that awareness like at the forefront of your mind.
That's powerful.
And there's this verse from the Quran, I don't know if you remember it, the speaker quoted it that just hit me hard. It basically says that fasting was prescribed, like specifically for this purpose.
Oh, wow. So it's like every moment is a chance to strengthen that connection, that bond with the divine, to like refine your character.
Exactly. And the speaker made this really, really powerful point. It's not just about hitting pause on bad habits,
Yeah.
It's like a jumpstart for real lasting change. It's a chance to build good habits that stay with you even after Ramadan's over.
That's a big challenge, isn't it? I mean, for all of us, like what's one specific change you're like personally working on this Ramadan? Because the speaker talked about making like one big change every year, which, over a lifetime, that could be like 20, 30 positive shifts.
Oh, totally. It really got me thinking, like this year I'm trying to be more mindful of my words.
Oh, interesting.
You know how it is sometimes when you're fasting, you can get a little irritable, And the speaker even mentioned this. They said, like, bad speech can actually wipe out the rewards of fasting.
Oh, wow.
It's like, what's the point of giving up food and drink if you're not also controlling your tongue?
It's true. It's like it's not just a physical detox.
Right.
It's a spiritual and emotional one, too. And the speech, I love how it makes that link, right? Between what you consume and what you produce.
Mm-hmm.
Both physically with the food and verbally.
That's so true.
It's like training yourself to be aware of like everything that's coming in, everything that's going out.
It's a total shift.
Yeah. And doesn't that control, that discipline extend to like our thoughts as well?
Absolutely. Like the speaker shared this really powerful verse from the Quran.
Oh, yeah.
About, how important it is to cultivate positive thoughts and not just about yourself.
Oh, about others too.
Even about others, especially when they're difficult.
Oh, you actually marked that verse and you wrote like even about difficult people in the margins.
I did.
So like what was going through your mind when you read that?
Well, it just made me realize like Ramadan is this training ground for our minds.
Wow.
We're always constantly battling negative thoughts and impulses. But this month gives us this opportunity to practice.
Yeah.
Replacing those bad thoughts with positive ones.
It's like building those mental muscles.
It is. And it's not easy, especially when you're dealing with people who are just tough to deal with.
Yeah.
But I think that's where the real growth happens.
It's where the magic happens, right? And speaking of challenges, the speech also goes into the last 10 nights of Ramadan, the significance of those nights, especially the odd nights, right?
Oh, yeah, because they contain Laylatul Qadr.
Laylatul Qadr, the night of decree.
It's such a powerful concept. The night when the Quran was first revealed.
Wow.
And they say the rewards for worshiping during that night is like greater than 1,000 months of worship.
I remember hearing stories about it growing up, but something that always kind of confused me was, why don't we know exactly which night it is?
Like, why the secrecy?
Yeah, like, why keep it a secret?
Well, the speaker, they offer this really interesting analogy. Imagine if you knew exactly when you were going to die. The date, the time.
Ooh, that's a heavy thought.
It is, isn't it?
I think I would be tempted to, like, put things off,
Procrastinate.
Yeah, like especially those positive changes we were talking about, if I knew I had like a set deadline.
Right, but not knowing, it creates a different kind of drive. you know?
Yeah, yeah.
It pushes us to strive for good every single night.
Mm-hmm.
Not just when we feel like time's running out.
It makes every night feel so precious, right?
Yeah.
Full of potential. And what I thought was really interesting is the speech connects this idea of striving to the concept of jihad.
You're right. The speaker actually talked about jihad and nafs,
Yeah.
which is that inner struggle. And they say it's like at the heart of Ramadan.
It's not the external battles.
Yeah.
It's about conquering those inner demons, those weaknesses.
Exactly. And it's a struggle, you know? So what are some of those inner demons that we might be wrestling with during Ramadan? Like for you personally, what are some of the challenges that come up?
That's a good question.
Well, for me, it's patience. I have a really short fuse,
Yeah.
man, especially when I'm hungry. But Ramadan forces me to face that impatience, you know, and to work on cultivating a more calm, more peaceful state of mind.
That's something I think a lot of us can relate to. The struggle is real. The speech also talks about dates during Ramadan.
Oh, yes.
And not just the literal kind we break our fast with.
Right. There's the actual date fruit itself,
Yeah.
which, you know, packed with nutrition.
It's good for you.
The speaker even highlighted those health benefits.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But they talked about these metaphorical dates that we have throughout the month, too.
I love that. Like having a date with prayer, a date with the Quran.
Exactly.
A date with our families, our communities.
And even a date with our own character.
Ooh, that one's powerful. That's the one that really stuck with me. It's like taking that time to really reflect, you know, on who you are, who you want to be. And so we can use this month to actually become better versions of ourselves.
It's such a powerful concept.
It is. And the speech also emphasized like the impact that our actions have on others, even seemingly small things like our facial expressions. And the speaker actually said that even the expression on our face can be an act of charity.
That one blew my mind. It really made me think about like how often I might, you know, frown or scowl without even realizing it.
Especially when you're, you know, in the middle of a fast and maybe feeling a little
Hungry?
Yeah.
It's a good reminder that, you know, every interaction, every little gesture can be an opportunity to spread kindness and positivity.
It's like a ripple effect.
Exactly.
And speaking of ripple effects, the speech also touched on the importance of generosity, especially during Ramadan.
Oh,
like how
excellent.
it goes beyond just, you know, giving money.
It really does. And, you know, one thing that really stuck out to me in the speech was how the speaker talked about the obligation of Zakatul Fitr.
Yeah.
It's not just about, you know, giving to those in need. It's like, it's about making sure everyone can share in the joy of Eid.
Oh, I love that. And it makes me think of something else the speaker said about how generosity like enhances everything.
Right.
They use this amazing analogy about cooking a big pot of food.
The biryani analogy.
Yes, the biryani. They were saying how cooking for like a bigger group of people somehow just makes it taste better.
You know what? I've actually experienced that. Like when you share food with people, there's this sense of like abundance.
Right. It's like it multiplies.
It totally did. Like the act of giving is like, it's like adding a secret ingredient or something.
It really is. And speaking of sharing, the speech also emphasized like community during Ramadan.
Absolutely. It's not just like a solo journey, you know?
No.
It's about strengthening those bonds with your brothers and sisters, extending that compassion outward to the whole community.
Right. And the speaker actually shared a really powerful hadith about the rights of neighbors. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. About how the angel Gabriel, like, emphasized those rights so much to the prophet.
Yes, that the prophet thought neighbors would even inherit from each other.
It's so powerful.
It really is. It's like, it makes you stop and think, you know? Like, are we treating our neighbors the way we should be? Are we making that effort to connect, especially during this month?
It's a good question for all of us to ask ourselves, you know. The speaker even suggested like simple things like add extra water to your pot of stew, you know?
Yeah.
Share it with your neighbor.
Love it.
It doesn't have to be like these grand gestures, you know. It's those little acts of kindness that can make a big difference.
That's so true. You know what? I actually tried that one Ramadan.
You did?
I did. I cooked like an extra meal every week and just took it over to my wipers. I was a little nervous at first, I'd be honest.
Yeah.
But they were so appreciative.
That's beautiful.
It really like opened up this whole new level of connection.
And that's the spirit of Ramadan, right?
It is.
It's about breaking down those barriers, those walls,
Yeah.
building bridges of connection, not just with our neighbors, but with the wider community too.
Exactly. And the speech also touched on like remembering those who are less fortunate, those who
Yes.
are struggling around the world.
The speaker made such a powerful call to action, reminding us that even if we can't physically help everyone in need,
Yeah.
we can at least send them our prayers.
Our good wishes. Yeah.
It's that recognition that we're all connected,
Hmm.
regardless of borders or differences in belief.
Right. It's that concept of the ummah, that global Muslim community
Yeah.
that transcends all those differences. And beyond that, just recognizing that shared humanity with all people,
Absolutely.
regardless of their faith.
And the speaker highlighted the Jummah prayer, the Friday prayer,
Hmm.
as like this beautiful example of community sincerity.
Right. It's not just about like checking off a religious duty.
No, it's a time to connect with others, to check in on each other,
Right.
offer support.
You actually underlined that part and you wrote practical application of Islamic principles next to it.
I did.
So what were you thinking when you wrote that?
Well, the speaker mentioned how if someone is missing from Jummah 1 week, we should be concerned.
Oh, wow.
Like, are they okay? Do they need help? It's not just about praying side by side.
Right.
It's about actively caring for one another.
Yeah.
And it just struck me as such a practical example of how Islamic teachings, they actually translate into real world action.
It's putting faith into practice.
Exactly.
And speaking of putting things into practice, the speech also goes into the concept of charity.
Yes, which is so central to Ramadan.
So important. And the speaker really emphasized that charity is not just about giving money.
Right.
It's about giving with sincerity, with respect, with the intention of truly helping others.
Yeah, do you remember that story they shared about the man who threw a coin at a beggar?
Oh, yeah. And the beggar's response was so powerful.
He refused the coin, right?
He did. He said he wouldn't accept something that was thrown at him.
It's like, whoa.
It was this humbling reminder that even in giving, we have to be mindful
Of our intentions.
of our actions.
It's not about making ourselves feel good.
Right.
It's about truly helping others.
With dignity and respect.
Exactly.
Recognizing their inherent worth as human beings.
Yes, and it ties back to that broader message of Ramadan,
Yeah.
about refining our character, about being more conscious of how we interact with everyone around us.
Absolutely. And the speech even highlighted how, like, even a simple smile can be an act of charity.
Oh, that's one of my favorite parts.
It's such a small gesture.
It is, but it can have such a huge impact on people,
It really
A
can.
genuine smile, it can brighten someone's day, create a sense of connection, and just remind us that even when we're going through our own stuff, we can still choose to spread joy and positivity.
Sometimes I forget how powerful a smile can be.
Me too.
You actually circled that part and wrote reminder to myself next to it.
I did.
So do you try to be more conscious of smiling during Ramadan?
I do, especially when I'm out and about. It's easy to get caught up in the rush,
Yeah.
But Ramadan is like this reminder to slow down, to be present, to really connect with people in a meaningful way. And a smile it's such a simple way to do that.
It's like this little gift you can give to anyone.
I love that.
Anywhere, anytime.
It is a gift.
And it's a reminder that even those small acts of kindness can have such a ripple effect.
They really can. And the speaker also talked about gratitude, especially when it comes to giving.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just about the act itself. It's about the sincerity behind it.
Right.
We should be grateful for the opportunity to give, recognizing that it's a blessing to be able to help others.
It's about shifting our perspective, right? From lack to abundance.
Yes.
Recognizing that we have so much to be thankful for, even when things are tough.
That shift in perspective it's so powerful.
Yes.
It allows us to see the world with new eyes,
Yeah.
to appreciate those blessings that we often take for granted, and cultivate a deeper connection, not just with God, but with each other.
And that connection, that sense of belonging to something bigger than ourselves.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful reminder that we're not alone in this journey.
Speaking of journeys, I'm curious to hear a lot about those social experiments that the speaker mentioned.
Oh, yeah.
Where Muslims refused to break their fast, even when they were offered like these huge rewards.
Right. The iPhone in the water. Right.
Yeah, like, what do you think that says about their commitment, about the depth of their belief?
That's a great question. And it leads us to another really fascinating aspect of Ramadan, the the concept of willpower, discipline, self-control.
It's pretty incredible, right? Like people can resist those temptations during Ramadan.
It's amazing. It really shows you the power of this month, don't you think?
Absolutely. The speaker called it like this testament to human potential.
Oh, wow.
If people can summon that kind of willpower to fast, even when they're offered an iPhone or just a sip of water,
Yeah.
imagine what we can do in other areas of our lives, right?
It's like unlocking some hidden strength,
Yeah,
some hidden discipline that we didn't even know we had.
totally. The speaker even compared it to like a spiritual boot camp.
Oh, I love that analogy.
It makes so much sense. It's like the rhythm of fasting and praying and reflecting.
Mm-hmm.
It creates this structure, this discipline that trains our minds and bodies to resist those temptations,
Mm-hmm.
to delay gratification,
Yeah.
to prioritize our spiritual well-being.
Like building those spiritual muscles like we were talking about earlier that
Exactly.
we can then use to face the challenges of everyday life.
It really got me thinking about some of my own goals, things that I've been putting off
Yeah.
because they seem too hard or overwhelming.
We all have those.
But seeing how dedicated people are to fasting during Ramadan,
Right.
it gives me this renewed sense of hope. Like maybe I can achieve those goals too.
I love that. And I think we all have those goals, those habits that we want to change.
We do.
The speaker mentioned jihad al-nafs,
Yes.
that struggle against our lower selves, our weaknesses.
It's a constant battle.
It is. It's at the heart of Ramadan, right?
Mhm.
And those spiritual muscles that we're building, those can help us win that battle.
They can.
So what are some of those lower selves that we might be wrestling with this month? Like for you, what comes up?
Well, for me, it's about being more present.
Mm.
I tend to get caught up in my thoughts, my worries, my to-do list.
Yeah, that's so relatable.
But during Ramadan, I really try to be more mindful,
Right.
more present in each moment. It's not easy, but the practice of fasting really helps me to cultivate that awareness.
Like training your mind.
It is, and you actually highlighted this part in the speech where the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he encouraged his followers to break their fast with a date.
Oh, yeah.
And if the date wasn't available then with water.
Right.
And he emphasized doing it quickly, like not delaying.
Right.
And at first I didn't really get why that detail was so important,
Yeah.
But then the speaker explained that it's about being decisive.
Oh.
It's about training yourself to act with intention rather than getting stuck in indecision.
Wow, that's such a great point. I never thought of it that way.
It was like this little nugget of wisdom, that I'd never considered before.
It's funny how those seemingly small details can reveal such profound insights.
Right, and I think that's the beauty of this speech. It takes these concepts that we think we understand,
Yeah.
and it just peels back the layers.
And it shows you these new layers of meaning.
It really does. It's like peeling an onion, right?
Love it.
There's always more to discover,
Always more to learn.
and that's what makes this whole journey of self-discovery so exciting.
It really is. And speaking of discovery, the speaker also talked about the social aspect of Ramadan.
Oh, yeah.
How it's not just about, individual piety, it's about strengthening those relationships with others. Do you think that's something that we often overlook?
I think it's easy to get so caught up in the personal aspects,
Yeah.
the fasting, the praying,
Right.
and forget about the social dimension.
It's community aspects.
But the speaker reminded us that Ramadan it's this powerful opportunity
Yeah.
to build bridges of understanding and connection, not just with other Muslims,
Mhm.
but with people of all faiths and backgrounds.
They talked about reaching out to neighbors, mending broken ties, engaging in acts of service.
Yeah.
It's about extending that compassion and generosity outward,
Put on our own little bubbles.
Exactly. And the speaker shared this really touching story
Oh, I remember that one.
about this group of Muslim youth who organized a community ishlar
Yeah,
for their non-Muslim neighbors.
he was beautiful.
Such a simple gesture.
So powerful.
It created this space for dialogue, for understanding.
For shared humanity.
Exactly. When I was younger, I used to think Ramadan was about deprivation,
Yeah.
about giving things up. But as I've gotten older, I've realized it's actually about abundance.
It is.
It's about recognizing all the blessings that we have and sharing those blessings with others.
That is such a beautiful way to put it.
It's about shifting that perspective.
From scarcity to abundance.
Yes.
From isolation to connection.
It's about recognizing that we're all in this together.
We are.
That we all have something to offer and that we all need each other.
We do. That's a powerful message to carry with us, not just during Ramadan, but all year round.
It is. And I love how the speaker ended the speech with a call to action.
Me too.
Urging us to keep that spirit of Ramadan alive in our hearts.
Yes.
Long after the month is over. They said, and I quote, "Ramadan is not just a month on the calendar. It's state of heart, a way of life that we can choose to embrace every single day."
Beautiful.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what are some practical ways we can keep that spirit alive in our own lives?
That's a great question.
What are some things that we can do to integrate those lessons of self-discipline and compassion and generosity into our daily routine?
Well, I think for me it's about continuing to cultivate those habits that we've been practicing during Ramadan.
Mm-hmm.
Making time for prayer and reflection, being mindful of my words and my actions, reaching out to those in need,
Yeah.
and simply taking a moment each day to appreciate those blessings.
I love that.
It's about making those small but consistent efforts to live a more intentional life,
Yes.
a more compassionate life, a more connected life.
That's a great takeaway for all of us. Ramadan is like this incredible training ground.
It is.
This opportunity to recharge our spiritual batteries.
Yes.
And to equip ourselves with the tools that we need to face life's challenges.
And even though the month itself is coming to a close,
Yeah.
that journey of self-discovery and growth, it continues.
It does. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the heart of Ramadan.
It was my pleasure.
We hope this exploration has given you a deeper understanding of this incredible month and inspired you to continue your own journey of spiritual growth and transformation.
Until next time, keep seeking, keep striving, and keep diving deep.
We'll see you on our next deep dive. Jihak.